Yes, the
We're checking one,
volume is
two,
there.
no one, no non-participant yet so far. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
You speak something?
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Sound is good.
Good, good. There's two participants. Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, Lik Homandal. Hare Krishna, Lik Homandal. We will begin soon. We'll wait for more participants and we will start. Hare Krishna Vraja Ashtotara Shata. Welcome, welcome. Liberated devotees here. Should we start?
Yes.
Just start like that. So, welcome everyone. I should begin with introduction since of myself. Since yesterday we have tried the first session and unfortunately it ended up with some difficulties in streaming, so there were no volume,
Yeah.
so nothing could have been understood by our presentation. So let me introduce myself for the beginning. My name is Jagadisvar Das. I'm a traveling student, preacher. I travel with the books, study them, and distribute. And presenting this in the service of our divine grace, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. So recently I've been in traveling from India, autumn time, and I had to pass with the plane through the borders of Saudi Arabian countries, and faced big issues in Saudi Arabian countries, almost um, life challenging issues, where I had to, save my life. And after that, I went to Mauritius. I found Mauritius Island, which was very helpful for regaining health. And after that, just a few weeks after, the war has erupted. Quite of intense bombarding all around those places. So I spent much time of regaining health in Mauritius, and from Mauritius, I got my ticket back to Europe, where my parents live, and somehow my plane got diverted again. I lost the ticket to London, so and I was in Mumbai, and I thought, why not to stay in Mumbai? And I stayed in Juhu Temple for 3 months so far, and to my fortune, I got a train ticket to Jagannath Ratha Yatra, and the first time attended Jagannath Ratha Yatra in my life. After which, I just been led to this nice devotee,
Rasik Raman.
Rasik Raman Prabhu, and I just hopped in a Kolkata Ratha Yatra after all of that, and I had the opportunity to stay in this beautiful, nice, amazing center, Bhaktivedanta Research Center. And now, by the grace of Rasik Raman Prabhu, I have opportunity to speak every day something in our mission, mood and mission, and purpose of a movement, and how Srila Prabhupada is actually um, establishing and moving and is alive in ISKCON and in movement, and what is he is actually giving to this world. So as a traveling preacher, I cannot spend even a day without hearing Srila Prabhupada. So I collected quite of a jewels from that, which I will try to share with you all. I hope you will find them useful, and it will strengthen your faith in our acharya, strengthen your faith in your practice, spiritual practice, and faith in books, book reading, studying, and sharing, and Krishna Katha, and chanting, and dancing. Hopefully, I will bring the benefit, not the otherwise. And I hope to benefit from all of you together. Feel free to comment and ask questions, since I am able to see them here. So it will be really good if you ask questions. So the conversation or the video can, elaborate or grow in such a way. So this is my introduction, and maybe Rasik Raman Prabhu has already something for beginning to
Tomorrow.
So
Yeah.
so the topic is Kolkata, the city, the place of divine grace, and this is something to be thoughtful of when you land in a place like this, in a place of where great acharya, great spiritual leader, great spiritual uplifter of the whole universe is being born, or completely surrendered, sheltered person by the Lord. So I just was recently coming upon a very nice book, which is called by the same names, Calcutta, the City of Divine Grace. So when we're in Calcutta, we should think like that it's a place where of the most sacred place in the universe. Um, the place of divine grace, unconditional mercy spread for the all conditioned living entities. Since we find Srila Prabhupada, he established what no one else couldn't establish in history. He fulfilled the desire of all the acharyas. He took all the essence of all acharyas and made it complete. By empowerment and by his own desire, determination, struggle, austerity. Uh, he distributed the mercy that was flowing through him. The Krishna consciousness, or the seed of Krishna consciousness to everyone. So when we speak of this, we can find the topics beginning from his very childhood, that we will discuss a little further on, further topics. But first, uh, I want to start with the glories of Bharatvarsha and moving down to the glories of Bengal, and more precise to the glories of Kolkata, which is a place of divine grace. So let me just open up with a few verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 19, the island of Jambudvipa. So let's read a little bit of Srila Prabhupada purports. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Uh, Yeah. So the Sanskrit. Etat eva hi deva gayanti aho misham kimakari shobhanam prasana esham utta swayam hari yair janma labdam nirsho bharatadjire mukunda sevano sevopayakam sprihahina. So this is the demigods glorifying Bharatvarsha. It's very important to know the glories of Bharatvarsha, or why the white people, Westerners, even try to come here look for something. So actually, this is what we can explain to them why Bharatvarsha is so glorious. So here's a meaning. Here's a translation. Hear this out. Since the human form of life is the sublime position for spiritual realization, all the demigods in heaven speak in this way. How wonderful it is for these human beings to have been born in the land of Bharatvarsha. They must have executed pious acts of austerity in the past, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself must have been pleased with them. Otherwise, how could they engage in devotional service in so many ways? We demigods can only aspire to achieve human births in Bharatvarsha to execute devotional service. But these human beings are already engaged there. Now, can you imagine the demigods glorifying Bharatvarsha? The next verse goes, Kim dushkare na kratubis tapovrate danadi vivadyu dyujayena palguna nayatra narayana pada pankaja smriti pramushtati shyanindriyot savat. Translation: the demigods continue after performing the very difficult tasks of executing Vedic ritualistic sacrifices, undergoing austerities, observing vows, and giving charity. We have achieved this position as inhabitants of a heavenly planets. But what is the value of this achievement? Here we are certainly very engaged in material sense gratification, and therefore we can hardly remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. Indeed, because of our excessive sense gratification, we have almost forgotten his lotus feet. Then the next verse, I will skip the Sanskrit. A short life in the land of Bharatvarsha is preferable to a life achieved in Brahmaloka for millions and billions of years. Because even if one is elevated to Brahmaloka, he must return to repeated birth and death. Although life in Bharatvarsha in the lower planetary system is very short, one who lives there can elevate himself to full Krishna consciousness and achieve the highest perfection even in this short life, by fully surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Thus one attains Vaikuntha Loka, where there is neither anxiety nor repeated birth in a material body. Continue on. An intelligent person does not take interest in a place, even in the topmost planetary system, if the pure Ganges of topics concerning the Supreme's Lord activities does not flow there. If there are no devotees engaged in service on the banks of such river of piety, or if there are no festivals of Sankirtan Yagya to satisfy the Lord, especially since Sankirtan Yagya is recommended in this age. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangasya Parshadam Yage Sankirtana Prayajanti He Samedasaha. So here I will share a few words. This portrays that even the demigods glorify the the Bharatvarsha itself as being a place of easy be accessible Vaikuntha planets, or an easy way out to transcendental world. The demigods, they participate a lot of heavenly engagements, which is the burning of piety. They burn down the pious results. When we experience pain, that means we're burning out our bad results of our bad activities. And when we experience pleasure, that means we're burning out our good results of good activity. If I have done something good in life, that means in future I will enjoy. That means I will enjoy, I will experience pleasure. And if I experience some pain, that means I'm experiencing something that caused pain to someone. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna recommends matras parshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkha agama paino nityastam stitikshasva bharata. To the pain and pleasure is coming like a sun and winter, summer and winter. It just one day is there, other day is there, and it just caused by central perception. It's just basically in your mind, you know. So, and Krishna advises to not to be focused on good or bad, pleasure or pain, which makes the whole world move. What do you think the whole world is moving? Is whole world is moved by what? The whole world is moved. We all not running after the pain, don't we? We don't seek pain. We're not. We don't wake up and think like, man, how can I get some pain today? Though in actual sense, the majority of people, they are tricked that we live quite similarly. We think what we think is good. What we think, many people live in thinking that painful activities will benefit them. We are tricked on that level. Um, we perform such activity which is irrational for our future success. It will never bring fortune or even a good pious result, even that. So many people are quite tricked on that level. It's today's society. So what's happening? We learn by bad example. We learn by heavy experience. That's also a school, though it's a heavy school. Of course, better to have enough piety to open Gita and learn this verse. Matras parshastu kauntyashitoshna sukha dukkada. When we learn from authority, it said the wise can learn from others. So if we can actually experience this type of intelligence and learn from others, that is the best school forever. But again, to act, since the whole world still is looking for the happiness, we are looking for Krishna. Krishna is happiness. Krishna is love. The reason why we experience love in this world is because Krishna is the taste of enjoyment. The taste of water when we drink, it's the taste of water is satisfaction, and that satisfaction is Krishna. So that enjoyment is Krishna, and Krishna made enjoyment available in this world. So it's quite fair to say that Krishna is love. But when we love, we forget Krishna. That is a big problem, right? When we love, we forget Krishna, and we fall in love with delusion more. So, in speaking of terms of grace, since the Kolkata is a place of divine grace, grace is the word grace has some meaning that a person who is being really elegant. Other meaning is that he bestows unconditionally great mercy. So definitely Srila Prabhupada was the person who used to and he caused to this world a lot of unconditional mercy. He shared with everyone the topics that it was not revealed in the history of entire humanity. The whole world was waiting for knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Many people spoke of God, but who is God? What is that relationship with God? Or what's the topmost relationship with God? That is, actually loving devotional service, devotion to God. So devotion means association between two persons. That means if I love God, that means there's me. I have to know who I am. And who is God? Who is that person? Yeah. So bhakti is that we have 0 viewers. I'm very boring. Anyway, the recording is this. So when we speak of love, love is service. That means to please someone in a way that he likes to be pleased. Not the way I like to please him, but the way that he likes to be pleased. So when we serve Krishna, uh, we don't try to please ourselves by serving Krishna, but we try to know the person. What does Krishna like? Right? If we want to give a flower to Krishna, uh, we can go ahead and try to understand what flower he likes the most. Hmm? What flower, what color of flower, what type of flower he likes the most. So for that, we might open up scripture or we ask Guru. For that, actually, we need Guru. This is why we need Guru. This is when we take diksha, when we curious of what flowers Krishna accept the most, what flowers he likes the most. So this is where you go and ask for Guru, and Guru will advise you in your relationship with Krishna. So, but that is bhakti. The main point I'm making, that real religion is when you can give flower to someone. Religion means you can give flower to a person. This is love. Because you cannot give flower to sky. You try to give a gift to the sky. How would it look like?
Yeah. Mm.
Something like, you know, it's therefore it's something irrational. The impersonal concept of God is still not love. Love is not there still. So usually we being trapped in the focus of ourselves, and usually people end up thinking themselves to be the same supreme personality or something like that, which is heavy painful to think so. If you think you're God, you experience very heavy pain, extreme pain. you know it is most painful to think yourself to be God. Why? Because to put yourself in the ultimate enjoyer position is impossible. It's not natural for us. Just try to walk the street in such a thoughts that I'm the main enjoyer of everything around. You will go crazy. I bet. Because it's not possible. That is too challenging. And some things you wouldn't even want to enjoy, but they meant, you know, for God's enjoyment. Everything is meant for God's enjoyment or for a purpose to serve Him and assist Him. So one should be at least not a neglectful voidist or nihilist in such position, because God, nothing falls out of a picture of God. This is what Srila Prabhupada taught thoroughly in his books. Everything is serving Krishna 100%. Every millimeter of creation is fully engaged and active as Krishna's energy. So, but for conditioned souls, there's a school where I'm participating in a school which is teaching us how to see God everywhere and how to distinguish, get rid of anger, envy to Krishna. Is this the reason why we see wrong in this world? Some wrong, someone, we don't like someone, we want to remove someone, we want to destroy someone, we hate someone. That means we envy that only one. And that only one is Krishna, the most beautiful, most attractive, most rich, most powerful, most renowned, most full of knowledge. Quite many reasons to envy such person. And we all have it. We all have this envy. We should be fair and honest. This is why we're here, and this is why we experience anger. Srila Prabhupada in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam explains that sadistic attempts of a people, I grew up in a counterculture in my own country. I used to play rock music when I was young. Thank God he corrected me from such a condition. But I saw people sometimes used to hurt themselves with knives or put tattoos of scary people, scary boogie woogies, skulls, and sometimes make piercings on their head or something like. So with some people, they like to destroy their own bodies. Even they go to the extremes like that. And Srila Prabhupada explained that actually, envy to the Lord, it ends up right in this point that the person starts hating God situated in themselves, in their own heart. So how extreme conditions of that envy can be developed if we are not thoughtful of that, if we're not advised of that, we become self-destructive because we hate God. Eventually, we hate Krishna, who's also in ourselves. We destroy a temple in others. We destroy someone might destroy temples. Someone might destroy temples in others, and eventually they want to destroy temples in themselves just because Krishna lives there, want it or not. Krishna is in every atom. So that envy ends up right on such level. Um, is explained that when a person is actually attacking a Vaishnava, a big sadhu, big devotee, or devotee of Krishna, it's considered the last stage of envy. This is where that's the most awful thing that a living entity can commit. There's nothing worse than that. All acharyas, Vaishnava acharyas agree with that's the end. That's that's the end. There's nothing worse that can be committed. So it then that ends up in such a way when a person becomes very self-destructive, and we see these people, sometimes they commit suicide or go crazy and so on and so. But the Vaishnava is so merciful that he never gets offended. Vaishnava doesn't get offended, and he still wishes all the best for all of his offenders. Just like Haridas Thakur, he was beaten in marketplace, 24 marketplaces, right?
Yeah, 22.
22. So that's the end. That's the worst thing that can be, performed to attack such a Vaishnava like Haridas Thakur. But how did the Haridas Thakur acted? They start beating him and they understood, hey, he's not dying. This is unusual. And he said, listen, Haridas Thakur, we're in trouble. If you don't get killed, we will, the Kazi will kill us. So Haridas Thakur saw that they're lamenting and they're in trouble, they're afraid to die. He said, okay, if I'm causing you problem, let me die, let me go. So in the purports it's explained that he went into a deep trance and left the body. And the Muslims, they thought that he died. So they were discussing what to do with the body. So first of all, they thought, let's bury him. And someone answered, no, no, no. If we bury him, he will achieve good destination. Such an envy. He said, let's just throw him to a Ganga river. In this way, he will perish. He will not have a good destination. So they threw him in a Ganga, which is actually the best thing to do. And after a while, Haridas Thakur just revived his life and swam to another shore and revived himself and walked away. And for many people, that was a big miracle. But for for Krishna, that was something very painful to witness his pure devotee experiencing such attacks and so on. So this is nothing else but the envy to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing else. And it said that's the last stage of degradation of a living entity, to to perform such activity. So again, we speaking of grace and a place of grace. So you can just imagine, even at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he descended, in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is written that a place was really dark place, full of atheistic scholars. Navadvip was a time of at that time was a big scholar place.
Yeah.
You know, there was a big place of learning. Many pundits from Varanasi and all over India, they used to go there and study Nyaya and logic and argument and so on. So, but still, the majority of them, they were atheists. They didn't understood the purport of the Vedas, you know. And if we don't know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, or that the Vishnu is only to be worshipped, bhakti can be only used or performed in the service to Lord Vishnu, Krishna, Narayana. If we don't understand, if a living entity doesn't understand this, he's considered quite of a Pashandi or atheist. Atheist, you know. If we ought to worship everyone on an equal level, Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna himself says that he doesn't like that actually. You know, that's Prabhupada names them Pashandis, atheists. Because we should know the exalted position of Lord Krishna or Narayana. So that is the grace that is being brought by Srila Prabhupada in this day and age in Kolkata, and Srila Prabhupada cuts it through this knowledge, you know, of Krishna being different from the living entities, or Vishnu being different from the living entities, and how superior he is. How and why Krishna is superior, why only he should be worshipped and others respected. You know, we respect others and we glorify them and worship as a pure devotees of Krishna. But Krishna or Vishnu has a superior position, most superior, exalted position. This is very important to understand because whole world religions, they accept one God, Ekaleshvara Krishna Arsabhabrit, and we all submissive to him as conditioned living entities, though they have no full vision of it. They have no full understanding of what Krishna, so they speak also of love to God, but how can you perform love when still the person you don't know? How can you give a flower to someone you don't see? How can you give the flower to the sky? That's not possible. Even Krishna himself explained in Gita, it says the ones who are attached to worship and meditation to my to unexpressed, to unmanifested form, feature of the Supreme, that type of worship is very difficult and troublesome. Krishna himself says it's very difficult. How can you worship someone who is not manifested? Yeah, that's impersonalism. That's actually explained as atheism in disguise. That is atheism in disguise. I love God. Who is God? God is nothing. So this is tricky point, right? I love God. God is who? God is nothing. And eventually, that's a good pretense to put yourself in a spiritualist position, being an atheist, because that's nothing but atheism, right? That's nothing but atheism, voidism. God is absolute. God is Krishna is being Supreme Personality of God, that he's actually absolute also. So absolute involves everything. In the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explains that everything is involved in absolute feature of God. Everything. And the personality of God that is also involved. The form of God is also involved in that picture. It cannot be otherwise. Otherwise, the absolute wouldn't be absolute. if there will be no feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means Absolute will be lacking something. And for sure, there is no such thing as nothing in the Absolute Truth. Every, this, Krishna is all pervading in every particle and particles in between the particles, in atoms and between the atoms, everywhere is his, manifestation. So this is all of it. This knowledge is being brought by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Um, Thank you, Sarvatmanitai. Thank you. We will try to do this regularly, and please uh, feel free to ask questions, and let's elaborate the topics in connection with Srila Prabhupada, and let's glorify the pure devotee. That's the main process, right? Devotee. The word devotee has very two meanings in English language at least, but seemingly that's a constitutional position of devotees engaged in association among godly people and God worship. The one meaning of devotee in English language means that he is devoted to his tongue. Literally, it means that he likes to blaspheme, blah 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 blah, and some gossip, gramya katha or prajalpa. That means speak about others. And the actual devotee, the other meaning of a devotee, that he is devoted to Krishna. So we recognize someone devoted to Krishna, that he doesn't blaspheme others. He does not criticize others. He doesn't do prajalpa or criticism. So that's a measurement of a devotee. It says the tongue is most difficult to be controlled. But when the tongue is controlled, all the other senses is easily available, is controlled. How do I?
Sevanmukha hi jiva.
Yeah, Savanmukhe hi jivado. Devotional service starts with the tongue, whether tasting or chanting the glories of the Lord, holy name, and so on. And we can go back to the verse of Upadeshamrit, the first verse, explaining very clearly the position of Srila Prabhupada, position of His Divine Grace, is Srila Prabhupada was fully in control of his senses. Srila Prabhupada was complete Goswami, real Goswami. He was a completely pure devotee. The result of that is establishment all over the world. If someone has disciples all over the world, the way that the first verse of Upadeshamrita is claiming, that means that's a qualification. He's fully in control of his senses, of his anger, belly, and genitals, and the tongue. All the senses are fully in control. It means he's full Goswami. So one Srila Prabhupada was taking a walk in Vrindavan with his disciples, and he was discussing with Guru Das, since he was staying in Vrindavan he was planning to stay for 3 years or so. He wanted to become a Goswami. So Srila Prabhupada, he was inspiring him. He said, so now you become a Goswami. He said, become a Goswami and go and challenge all other Goswamis in Vrindavan. He said, go and challenge them by saying, you're not Goswami, I'm Goswami. Can you imagine? Srila Prabhupada's spirit in Vrindavan, holy Dham, So, and it's quite shocking. And Prabhupada said, because all the Goswamis here, they name themselves Goswamis, but actually they're no Goswamis. They're all cheaters. They name themselves Goswamis, but they're falling for their senses. They're not controlling their senses. They're just cheating. And someone from the crowd surrounded Prabhupada said, Prabhupada, you're the only Goswami. And Srila Prabhupada tried to change the topic, but later on said, actually the proof of it is that I have disciples all over the world. the proof of it that I established movement all over the world, and that is really true. Because Prabhupada miraculously made disciples wherever his feet touch the ground. Wherever his feet touch the ground, disciples just, surrendered. People surrendered to him. And quite unconditionally, never ever seen before. The way he written Bhagavad Gita as it is, uh, everyone was surprised. There were many Bhagavad Gitas before, and but it didn't make the change in the world. No change. People read it and stayed, dry academics, dry observers. Nothing to be changed. Maybe, increased intoxicant usage only, experiment with intoxicants. Well, Srila Prabhupada, the way he wrote Bhagavad Gita, I myself found Gita in my own language in Europe. And for me, it took only once to open Gita. I took only one. I opened once and I understood this is it. Krishna just finished me right with one shot. The words I read in an open page was so accurate, and the saying was, Supreme Personality of God had said, and that was so mind blowing that I understood this is it. I have to surrender my life to Krishna. So I'm not the only one. Seemingly, the Prabhupada wrote the books in such a way that everyone who used to open up the book, they all had this extreme mystic experience that that all the living entities are longing for and searching for. We all are looking to meet the most beautiful. We all are aiming to meet the most beautiful. We aiming to experience the greatest love, greatest adventure, greatest experience. This is why people use drugs. This is why people do crazy things in the world. They're making adventure just in order to experience Krishna. Krishna says, I'm the adventure also. And Krishna word means he's the most attractive, most beautiful. So the reason why people like to see that much, search out for something, look for the beauty, Krishna says, I'm this small, I'm this a spark of everything is just a small spark of my splendor, all the beauty in this world. But the Krishna is the supreme beauty. This is why people go in experience with drugs to see something beyond, to witness, more colors, to see more colors in this world, because it's not enough after some time. They need more colors, more colorful world. And to see that there's something supreme beautiful. So that is guiding us most of the time. This love, and this world is also love. This world is energy of Krishna. This world is Krishna. We like this world. We're attracted with this world. We're attracted with this world objects. Why? Because it's Krishna. It's Krishna's energy, and it's non-different from Krishna. Still, because we don't identify the objects as Krishna's energy, we think they're separated from Krishna, and therefore our enjoyment. Or, we fall in the illusion, in the vision of something being disconnected from Krishna. So it said, Prabhupada used to say that Krishna can take a walk in an atom. Krishna can take a walk in an atom. So if we actually become more advanced in our vision, we can be in Goloka Vrindavan with Krishna now and here. We can meet Krishna in every atom, and Krishna is never alone, Prabhupada says. Krishna is never alone. Within atom, there's a whole Vrindavan. There's peacocks, there's gopis, gopas, and whole Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is not something you go with a rocket or piercing the coverings. It can be manifested right here, right now. And that is available, this vision is now available because of books of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This knowledge was never ever revealed before in the history of human existence. It was known in India, but for a long time it was hidden. Majority of Vedic texts Hare Krishna, Gaurangi Priya. So majority of Vedic texts, they were hidden from the whole world. The Vedic Brahmanas, they didn't allow anyone else to receive or study the books, because the Vedic system, Varnashrama system, it means that you have to pass many lifetimes to be born in Brahman family, and only a Brahmanas with the permission of a guru are eligible to enter the studies of the Vedas. So it was quite tough thing to enter the study of Srimad Bhagavatam or to understand what is love for Krishna. But at the recent time, of course, Muslims attacked India for a long period of time, and they burned the majority of the scriptures, unfortunately. The majority of Vedic books is being destroyed, was destroyed. What we have left now is actually the essence. We're fortunate to lose so many broad knowledge of walking somewhere around, but missing the point rather than getting the point immediately. When at that center point, there's everything. If you have Krishna, everything is involved. Srila Prabhupada makes a point of that. If you have 1 million, 100,000 will be there in 100,000, and in 100,000 there will be 1,000, whatever. So there's nothing greater than Krishna, because Krishna is absolute. Everything is there. You have Krishna, you have everything. There's no need to look somewhere around. So the knowledge is so sublime, knowledge is so great. Krishna names it as a most, how's it in Bhagavad Gita, the chapter name? The king of all knowledge and the most, nothing can be greater than this divine knowledge, the superior knowledge. And to portray this, there's a very nice caricature explaining how education is actually important. In the 5th canto, one of the classes to Rishabhadev's teachings, that's not Rishabhadev's teachings, that's Ajanu's story. Srila Prabhupada explains that education is the greatest, the main gift for the human society. It's the most valuable out of all is education. Education is the most valuable. Why? Because by education you understand where you are. By education you get to realize your position. That is called Sambandha Gyan. Or otherwise, without it, we're quite of a lunatics. We're quite of a living in a dream. Without understanding the foundation of who I am, we cannot act. If you do not answer the answer of who you are, you don't know what the proper action is. One will not be able to act properly or spiritually. He'll be able to act materially, but material life is nothing but a dream. Krishna explains clearly that what is temporary does not exist. Temporary objects, they're actually illusory. They do not exist. But if you go and search out for yourself in a spiritual sense, you will find that a spiritual action is need to be done for complete self-realization, to find out the source of yourself. So when we study the Vedas, we study Bhagavatam and so on, we get to know the Sambandha Gyan of your constitutional position, what you are not and what eventually are you, Who is you? What is you? Where the personality lies, and so on. And what personality are you? Because in material identity might not be the same as your spiritual identity. There's a difference. So there's a very nice caricature of actually accepting a bona fide spiritual master. That's a analogy that when a person is crawling the desert, he is lost in the desert, he's very thirsty, he's about to die of thirst. And he crawls up to the two signs. The two signs. One sign says H2O to the left, 100 meters.
Yeah.
And the other sign says, water, 10 kilometers. So if we are a little more learned, at least that, to understand what is H2O, we might survive in this point,
Yeah.
right? It's only 100 meters. The well is easily available. But if we don't understand, then we take the 10-kilometer row. It says water, okay, water, and you might be finished. So education is the greatest gift. And our eagerness or our determination to take advantage of it is the biggest reward we can reward back to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada spent sleepless nights writing down, translating the books, struggling. It's not easy thing to translate the books, to work with the books. One has to be really thoroughly concentrated. So the best way we can pay off to this our debt to Srila Prabhupada is to study the books in the very same manner, with the very same attention and the very same struggle, the way that he written down the books. And then the answer, the exit or escape from this world will be that easy. As in that caricature, just as understanding H2O is just by the corner. You escape right the corner, rather than taking a long-term labyrinth of this world. Hare Krishna. We have spoken for about an hour. Should I go ahead more? Is everyone eager to go for one more hour?
Now 2 people are watching.
Huh? Two people.
2 people are watching.
Oh.
But later, more people will watch the entire video.
Last night it was 150, right?
170.
So yeah, this world is like that. One day you expect, you should not be attacked. So so maybe I'll just speak more of elaborating Srila Prabhupada. For the ones who will turn on further on, I will prepare. I'm already making a scheduling every day's, composing the topics I'm going to elaborate more and quote Srila Prabhupada more, and we will go into deeper discussions of his legacy and the pastimes and the classes and the best places of the scriptures that he written. We all going to discuss that. By the blessing of Rasik Raman Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada himself, I can only beg for his mercy to speak about him, because who am I? I'm nothing much. Even the great demigods, I believe so, are not capable to glorify Srila Prabhupada enough. I will share one more pastime of Srila Prabhupada, how he used to, just to put the point that he was very not extraordinary living entity, not extraordinary guru even. He was called Prabhupada. By his feet all the great leaders sit. They are checkmate in his presence. Srila Prabhupada checkmated everyone in his presence. And actually, the point I will make, it's ground moving, because he used to checkmate even the big demigods. In London, Srila Prabhupada used to perform powerful fire-up kirtans. And at some point, devotees recognized that Srila Prabhupada is being stunned in ecstasy, and witnessing something beyond the four walls, you know. And sometimes devotees used to ask Srila Prabhupada, what is there? And he asked, don't you see? And they say, what see? Don't you see, Srila Prabhupada used to say, don't you see Narada Muni is here? Don't you see Lord Shiva is here? And he used to immediately ask for devotees to arrange a seat, respectful seats for them. So in London, up to today, if you go to London Soho, there's Jagannath, beautiful, 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 big Jagannath, Baladev Subhadramai, Radha Londonishwara, the most attractive Radha Londonishwara deities, and Gornitai being worshipped, and right on the sides of them, there's two asanas for Lord Shiva and Narada Muni, I believe so, or could be Brahma. So it said that up to today, the demigods descend there to participate in Gaurarati, the worship of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. As we sing Shiva Shukanara the Preme Gadadara, so they descend in every kirtan to glorify Lord Gauranga. Therefore, in this great culture of Bengal, traditional culture, devotees are not afraid to die. It said that for devotee there is no fear. Why? Because God of death himself, Yamaraj, is dancing in a kirtan of Gauranga. He descends there, and with all the other demigods actually, they invite. The tradition is that we invite the demigods, devatas, to our kirtan. And if the kirtan is powerful enough, if it's pure enough, they actually descend.
Oh.
So it's tradition in Bengal, kirtan especially, that it said that no one should be afraid to die because Yamaraj himself is dancing in ecstasy in kirtan. Therefore, devotee, he is relieved from all the fear. That's one of the names that Srila Prabhupada receives from his father, Abhay Charan, fearless by the feet of Lord Krishna. First, he received the name Abhay
Yeah.
Charan.
Abhay Charan De.
Yeah. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur added Abhay Charanara Vinde. What does it mean, Charanara Vinde? This beautiful ending.
Abhay Charan Aravinda, when the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord.
Supreme. And without it, what does it mean? Just Abhay Charan?
Abhay Charan means, Abhay means fearless, and Charan means the feet.
The feet. So Bhaktisiddhanta, you know, being the completely perfected guru, knowing the purport of the Vedas, he made it sure that one can be fearless only situated by the feet of Krishna or Vishnu. That's the only fearless position. It's as low battery. We need to adjust it. So
1 hour, it generally takes 1 hour.
1 hour, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll finish up right here. So one can be completely fearless only by the feet of Lord Krishna, because Krishna himself says that I award everyone accordingly, and he's the only supplier. He supplies everyone. Doesn't matter one worships a devata or some other, you know, object. Is that only by Krishna's approval everyone is able to receive anything in this world, up to liberation. Lord Shiva himself, he is not able to act independently from Lord Krishna. Therefore, in Bhagavad Puran, we find Lord Shiva glorifying Krishna himself and stating that Krishna's devotees are more dearer than my own followers. Because we find 4 sampradayas, and one of them is Rudra Sampradaya. What do they worship? They worship Radha and Krishna. So this is aspiration of Lord Shiva. He's one of the gurus like Lord Brahma, Lakshmi Devi, Kumaras. Shiva is one of them, those who teach worship of Radha and Krishna. They lead people to ultimate salvation, ultimate fearlessness. And that fearlessness is found by the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So we, as all of our followers, descendants a big, big, big family of Srila Prabhupada, a big family of Abhay Charan De, Abhay Charan Arabinde, uh, we should be thoroughly convinced of Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thoroughly be engaged in service and achieving fearlessness. The fearlessness is a measurement. This is how they tested sannyasis, right? If they're fearless, that means they have no contamination in their hearts. Only Krishna is residing in their hearts. Hare Krishna. So this is the introduction, and I will end here. It's hour and 16, 17 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for saying this Hare Krishna and inspiring me to do regular classes. Next day, I hope you will ask questions and it will be more interactive. Please prepare already so we can develop nice association. And I will prepare some topics which we will go day by day and elaborate carefully the uh, legacy of Srila Prabhupada and how he is actually gracing over this material, um, world, the place of horrible dreaming of illusion, dream of illusion, you know. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
All the devotees ki jai. Vanchakalpatarupesha kripa sindhubhya vachapatitanam pavanam vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna. Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namanesti Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshata